In the top stories, St. Kitts and Nevis is first CARICOM nation to sign agreement with Afrexim Bank. New safety initiative to be launched at Grenada Port Authority, and 6 dead after shooting in Mississippi town. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Monday, the 20th of February 2023. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis is the first member of the Caribbean Community, or CARICOM, to sign an agreement with African Export-Import Bank, also called Afrexim Bank. Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew met Professor Benedict Orama, President of Afrexim Bank, on Friday to sign the Memorandum of Understanding after holding meetings with various representatives from the organization and other investors at the 44th meeting of the Conference of the CARICOM Heads of Government. The agreement entailed collaboration on initiatives to implement projects in renewable energy, such as a solar power plant, grid connectivity between St. Kitts and Nevis, in line with the nation's shared commitment to the development of geothermal energy, and smart metering, along with other energy-related initiatives. Prime Minister Drew expressed his satisfaction in reaching an agreement and outlined that, quote, "It is quite coincidental that the first trip as Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis was to Barbados, where we met, and the first signing that I did in any agreement was also with Afrexim Bank. Today I am pleased that we've reached the point of signing this agreement. This is in fact our second MOU, but this is in relation to solar and geothermal energy. This will be groundbreaking. It will be historic for our nation. There are lots of possibilities, and that's why today's signing is so critical," end quote. In November of 2022, St. Kitts and Nevis's Cabinet of Ministers welcomed members of the Afrexim Bank on their first official visit to the nation following the successful Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum held in Barbados in September 2022. A delegation from Afrexim Bank visited St. Kitts and Nevis for the second time this past weekend to further discussions with the government on the proposed initiatives. Parliamentarians will gather at government headquarters on Wednesday for the second reading of 3 bills at the next sitting of National Assembly. The session begins at 10 a.m. Attorney General and Minister responsible for Justice and Legal Affairs, the Honorable Garth Wilkin, will move the second reading of an amendment to the Integrity and Public Life Bill and the Freedom of Information Bill, as well as the Anti-Corruption Bill. The National Assembly will be broadcast live on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM and participating radio stations, and it can also be viewed live on ZIZ TV Channel 5 in St. Kitts and Channel 98 in Nevis. It will also be streamed live on www.zizonline.com, as well as our YouTube and Facebook pages. Copies of the bills, as soon as they're made available, can be found on the website sknis.kn of the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service under the section entitled Bills. The Department of Marine Resources is planning to host Phase 2 of a series of workshops focusing on tapping into underused species in the fishing industry before the end of February. According to a release, the first training session was held on February 8 and focused on diamondback squid fishing, a species of squid identified as underutilized in the local fishing industry. While speaking on the benefit of the training, facilitator and fisheries assistant at the Department of Marine Resources, Kareem Sadler, said the department is seeking new avenues that can help fishers turn their traditional fishing into a more lucrative cash by making use of the underused species like the diamondback squid.
We've done some work in the past in 2017 and 2018 looking at the viability of the resource and becoming a target species. And we were able to discuss the benefits of the introduction of a species like this in terms of diversifying the catch that is in our waters locally and how that can contribute to food security and the development of the fishers' livelihoods and the fishing industry in general. And all of this is a part of the mandate of the Department of Marine Resources to sustainably develop our resources, and it is also in keeping with the 25 by 25 agenda of the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Carbon.
The second phase of the workshop will focus on diamondback squid catching techniques, processing and packaging, gear and equipment training, as well as experimental fishing trips with live demonstrations. The training will wrap up with diamondback squid value-added product making, taste testing, and